Okay, so welcome everybody. This is how your site will be looking like. You will be able to log into your account using your agent credentials. So right now I'm just going to use the credentials that I have. Okay, and I'm going to use the password and I'm going to log in. Once you log in, you're going to have access to your agent desktop. So your agent desktop is going to have different icons that will redirect you to specific tools of the platform. So the first one we've got right here is make a booking. If you click here, you will be able to see all the content that is currently enabled on your site. So we've got air, hotel, etc. Now let me close this for a little while. I will come back to this point. The second icon that we've got is manage bookings. So once you click here, you're going to be redirected to the agent dashboard. And again, I will be explaining in further detail what this means. Let me just close it for now. The third icon we've got is manage company. So once we click here, we'll be redirected to the control panel. Oh, apologies, we closed it instead of going back. So sorry for that. So you'll be redirected to the control panel, which is the mid office and the place where you can actually brand and personalize your company. We've got the corporate booking tool, which is currently not live, so this message will show. We have the ability of sending the B2C link. So you would have to put here the name of the customer, the email, but I will show you this aspect of the platform in a little while as well. So first of all, I would like us to focus on the B2B aspects of the site, and then we will go through all the different B2C tools that you're going to have access to as well. In this part, manage shared access, you can decide which agents are going to have access to your bookings as well. So right now your dashboard is configured so that you can see your own bookings and only your bookings. However, if you use this tool, you're going to be able to decide who else from your company is going to have access to your bookings as well and be able to manage them. Let's say, for example, you are on vacation, you are on leave, then you can select one of your co-workers to have access to your bookings. And finally, we have this icon right here, which is manage rewards. It is currently not live, but this is how it would look like. The reward history would be right here. So for every booking made, the agent will be making a reward, and the platform will keep track of all the rewards being earned up until this moment. You can redeem such reward in any of the booking aspects of the platform, but you can only earn rewards when you are booking a hotel. So going back to my agent desktop, let me take you now initially to the booking engine. So let's start with air. Once I select air, as you can see, I'll be redirected to the main search engine. So for flights, I have different options. I can go one way, round trip, multi-city, and I can also decide to look for my flight the common way. So let's say I type a city. Oh, sorry. I select some dates. I can decide the number of adults that will be on this flight, so I can go up to 9. For now, I'm just going to leave it with 1. I can also select children, and infants, and the business class, so economy, premium, business, or first. And if I click here on advanced search, I can actually decide if I have, for example, a preferred airline. So let's say Delta or Air Canada. I can decide if I want to display all the results, only the ones that are direct, one stop, whether I want or not to exclude basic economy. So I can make my selection right here as well. NDC private, NDC published, net published, LCC, the ones that I want, the type of fares that I want to display. Or the other option would be to use this function right here, which is GDS paste. So I could just type here with the GDS coding, and then the platform will automatically translate that search into the different fields. So for example, I'm just going to use a template we have right here. I'm just going to paste it. So this is how the GDS search would look like. And I can either go ahead and search, or I can switch to general search. And this means that all the parameters will be automatically filled. Okay. Now I can either search here, or I can search, as I mentioned, through the GDS. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the search. Once I've made my search, I'm going to have different filter options on my left. So I can select departure flight, AM or PM. I can decide by number of stops, the fare type, so NDC private published or private published LCC, whether I want or not to exclude basic economy, the GDS types that I will be using, the fare class, refundable policy, and the price range. If I've made any mistake, I can always go back here and edit my search, or if I need to start a search all over again, I can just select here. If it's a flight, well, a flight or a hotel or whatever it is, I can just select from this banner on the top, and I'll be redirected to the main search engine. For now, let's just assume I made the right search, and I'm just going to go ahead and find a private fare. So this one is a private fare. I'm going to have here the flight details. So from New York to London, the price breakdown, the baggage policy, and the terms and conditions. If I decide to go ahead and book this flight, I'm going to have two options here actually. I can either add it to my trip or book it right away. For now, I'm just going to book it right away, and I'll show you in a little bit how adding into a trip would look like. So let's go ahead with booking. Once I select to book, I'll be redirected to the checkout page, where I'm going to be asked to put the information of the traveler. So in this case, it was only one adult. Obviously, I only have one field. I'm just going to go ahead with, oh, actually, I'm going to use Ria, sorry. Real name, we're going to use random date of birth and a year. Let's assume I don't have any seat preference, but if I did, I could select it here, or any meal request. Again, I could select it here. For now, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to input any frequent flyer member for now. So I'm just going to deselect this tab, and I'm going to put my email address here. So whatever email address I type here is the email address that will receive the confirmation of the booking I'm currently making. Assuming it'll be the agent logging in, then this will be the agent's email. I'm going to put a phone number. And now when I come here to the payment options, as you can see, since the fare that I've selected is a private fare, I actually have the possibility of redeeming my points, and I have 3 different types of payments. So I can either select credit card, and this would go for immediate ticketing. I can select credit card to be advised, or I can go with cash. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to go ahead and select this option. I'm going to put a city here. And I can review the terms and conditions if I needed to, just in case. And I just acknowledge, and I would proceed to confirm my booking. I apologize, my internet doesn't seem to be helping me today. But usually once you have access to your login credentials, this should not take this long. It will be much faster. And also please take note that today I'm using UAT links, so the speed is not to its best as it would be in production. So now I've booked my flight. I've got my confirmation, so I can either go back to my trip using this link right here, or I could also use this link right here on the top. I can send this to the customer, or if I scroll down, I'm going to be able to see the details of the flight that I just booked, and I'm also going to be able to complete my trip. So the platform is going to show me by default the hotels on the destination that I've selected for my flight. So these are the hotels that the platform is suggesting. I could choose one of them. I could also upsell my trip with a car, an activity, and so on. So if I wanted, for example, a hotel, I could just come here and view all the hotel options. But for now, I'm not going to select any of these options, and I'm just going to take you back to the trip. So this is what we call the planner page or my trip page. From this page, you're going to have numerous options to play with from an agent perspective. So first of all, right here on the superior left corner, we have the trip name. You can actually edit that trip name. So since the flight that I booked is for Rias, I'm just going to say this is Rias' trip. Rias' trip. And the reason why I'm doing this is because every single customer or every single trip, better yet, that I create is going to have its own personalized URL, meaning that whatever I'm booking for Rias will not be on the same page for what I'm booking for a different customer. So this will be Rias' trip, but if I wanted to start a trip for a different customer, then I can just come here where it says start new trip and then keep things separated. So this will always be in his URL, but all my other customers will have their own URLs as well. So once I've edited this trip name, I can send a quote to my customer, I can add an itinerary, or I can invite my customer to the trip. From an agent perspective, I'm also going to have access to agent support. So if you click here, you will have access to our 24/7 call center, which will be able to help you with any booking related with hotels, cars, activities, tours, or cruises. However, if you are booking a flight, our call center will redirect you to SkyBird customer support so that they can handle your query. Anything else, please feel free to use the 24/7 chat that we've got right here. So let's say, for example, now I want to send this quote. I can select it here and I can send a quote to my customer. So this booking that I've just made would be sent out. However, I don't want to send something that has already been booked in this exercise. So I'm just going to go back to the search engine and make a new search. This time, I will not book it. I will only save it into my planner to show you how that would look like. So I'm just going to leave the default dates, one adult. I'm not going to select any field on the advanced search, and I'm just going to proceed with the search. I have my results here. Again, I apologize. UAT speed is not the best, but I mean, you will have the chance to experience it on your own, so no worries about that. This time, as I said, I'm not going to proceed and book it. I'm just going to add it to the trip. And this will make my counter go up because it means that now I have 2 items on my trip. I have the one that I just booked, and I also have the one that I'm saving into the planner. So this is the one that I will be sharing with my customer. So I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to send a quote. So I'm going to send it to myself, or Sumit, maybe if you could share your screen, I can send it to you as well. Please advise. Otherwise, I'll share it with myself. Okay, I'm just going to share it with me. Oh, sorry, it went back. Okay, if I wanted to add more people, I could just put them here. I'm not going to do that right now. I could actually change the subject, or I could change the message that is going to be sent out to my customer. For now, I'm just going to leave it by default, and I'm going to submit. I can see that the email went out successfully. So now please allow me to open a private window. That way I can show you from a customer perspective how the quote is going to look like. So now I have received the quote on my email. Just give me a second and I will open it. So I'm just opening my email here. And this is how the quote is going to look like. So I've got my quote here. My quote is ready. And once I click on this link, this time I will be seeing this from a customer perspective. So using the quote tool, the customer will not have access to the URL. The URL will be masked, and this will avoid the customer from booking or searching or browsing on his own. I can see, however, from a customer perspective, the details of the flight that has been sent by my agent. And if I want to go ahead with this booking, I can just confirm and request to book. If, for example, I have any question regarding this quote, I can use the chat functionality on the bottom right corner, and I could ask a question to my agent. So let's say, hello agent, I want to know if I can select a meal, for example, I don't know. And then this is what I'm writing from a customer perspective, and from an agent perspective, you also have access to this chat right here. So if the agent is currently online, he will receive the message. It says from Maria, which is the customer name, and then the agent can reply. Yes, of course, I will help you, or whatever it is. If the agent is, however, not online at the moment that the customer is trying to chat, then this conversation will just go as an email to alert the agent that the customer is trying to reach them. Now, from a customer perspective, I can see that my agent is willing to help, so I feel comfortable with the quote, and I'm just going to go ahead and request it. Once I've requested it, then from an agent perspective, I can see here that the quote was sent to Maria, and now it has been requested by Maria. So from an agent perspective, if I wanted, I can come here and confirm such booking, and then just send the customer the electronic documents, the ticket, or whatever it is that is needed. Now, if on the opposite side, now I'm just going to close the quote. And let's say I don't want to send a quote, but I want to invite my customer to the trip. So right now, this trip has already been created, and I'm inviting my customer to this particular trip. So what I do is just add customer. Again, I'm going to invite myself. I could change the subject here or the message. I'm just going to leave it by default as it is right now. And I can see the email went out successfully. Now let me please open my email. And this is how my email is going to look like. So I am invited. And again, I'm going to have a trip link here. Now allow me to open a private window. And once I click on the link, from a customer perspective, this is what the customer will be seeing. So first of all, my name will be automatically populated, and I'm going to be on the same trip. So I am on Rias's trip. I can see that a booking has been made. I can see that another itinerary has been saved. This time, since I was invited to the trip as opposed to receiving a quote, I have access to the search engines as well. I have access to the URL. So if I don't like, for example, the option that the agent has saved for me, I can actually go on my own and search for a flight or a hotel or whatever it is that I'm looking for. For anything that I'm trying to book, for example, hotels, obviously the agent commission will be already included in the price that I am seeing from a customer perspective. So let me close here. This is the agent, and let's say now I want this time to book a hotel, so I can click here on the hotel search engine. Let me type a destination. I'm going to select some dates in the future. Now for the hotel part, you're going to have three different options. You can either go by destination, point of interest, or hotel name. If you choose destination or point of interest, the results will show whatever hotels are located within a 40-kilometer radius of the mentioned points. If you want advanced search, we have a toggle right here. Oh, I guess in UAT it's not available. Sorry. You can filter by star rating or by hotel name as well. And by default, you will have one room and one adult, but you can go as high as 4 rooms per booking or 5 adults per room. Now, if you have any booking that is larger than that, you can always contact our 24/7 call center, and they will just manage it as a group booking and provide you with the best possible rate. So again, from a customer perspective, I'm able to browse and I'm able to search. This time, I'm searching for a hotel, and I'm actually going to search for the same destination and dates from an agent perspective. So you can see the difference between what the agent sees as opposed to what the customer sees. And this over the dates. Just double check the dates that I've selected. Sumit, I'm not really sure if the hotel search is enabled right now in UIT.
It is enabled.
Okay. Let me search here. Same dates. Okay, perfect. So from a customer perspective, these are my results. I've got London from July 7th to the 8th, and so as well from an agent perspective. As you can see, for example, let's go with our topics first. The price I've got here is 1,074. Now our top speaks first. I've got 1,074 as well. However, the difference, once I come in here to choose a room, from an agent perspective, I'm going to be able what's behind that price. And from a customer perspective, I will not. So from a customer perspective, same thing will happen. I'll have access to the pictures, review about the hotel, the features and facilities, reviews of the customers that have actually been in that hotel. So not only do you see the punctuation, but also comments about that particular hotel. And if you scroll down, you can see the room options with only one price, and once more, you are able to book it right away or just save it to your trip. Now, from an agent perspective, as you can see, the price is technically the same, but once I scroll down, I have numerous options. So first of all, I'm able to see the bed bank that is giving me that particular rate. I'm also able to see why this price is this much, because I can see that the net price is this. My agent commission is 10% of the final selling price by default, but I could, from an agent perspective, edit my commission, so I could make it 0. That way it would be equal to the net, or I could make it larger, whatever I want. Then immediately the final selling price would change. Okay. From an agent perspective, I also have the option of comparing the pricing with Expedia and Booking.com. So right now I've got a net price of 967. If I, for a standard single room, if I go to Expedia, I don't think they are live in UAT right now, but I could compare the pricing, and then this would help me make an informed decision of how much commission I can actually make and still be competitive in the market. So going back to the customer view, this time I'm going to again add it to my trip. And now I will have one more thing on my saved items. Now going back to the agent view, as you can see, again, the counter has changed because now I have 3 items. The one that I had booked, the flight that I had saved, and the hotel that the customer has saved. So you can see it says added by Maria. This is my agent view. Okay. Now from a customer perspective, we've seen that the agent was able to invite this customer. Now, from a customer perspective, I'm also able to invite my friends. So obviously it doesn't say invite customer, it says invite friends, but the tool will work exactly the same. So I could put the names and email addresses from my friends, and I say, you know what, this agent has planned an amazing trip for me. It has flights, hotels, activities, it has everything. So I'm not traveling by myself, I'm traveling with my friends. Why don't you all come into this same trip and just book the same things that I'm booking? And then all my friends could come into this trip as well, and we could all book from the same site, and then all these commissions would go straight to the agent for planning just one single itinerary. Okay. Um, Now going back to the agent perspective, this is basically how the booking would work for flights or for hotels. Now, how can you track all the activity that is going on your site? So that is the reason why we have the dashboard. So you can go to your dashboard using this link right here, or if you're using your agent desktop, manage bookings. Both links will redirect you to the same place, the dashboard. So I've actually closed the trip right now, and I'm on the dashboard. This is the agent dashboard. As I was mentioning before, the agent dashboard is going to show you all the activity in real time that is happening on your site. So if I scroll down, I can see, for example, this search was made by Maria as a customer, and then Maria also requested this flight. So it has a red flag right here because it has been requested to book. It says here it has been requested. So from an agent perspective, I know that Maria has this pending. I can also see that I booked this flight for this customer, Ria Spisani. And if I click on the name of the customer, I can see further details of that specific itinerary. So in this case, for the flight, I can see the supplier information. I can see information about the reservation, about the pricing, and customer details. Let's see, for example, for a hotel. Again, the information would show about the supplier, details about the reservation and the pricing. And from the dashboard, I'm going to have this arrow here on the right that's going to give me access to go into that particular trip. So let's say, for example, we were already on this trip, but now let's say I want to go to this trip. It is a completely different trip. It has a canceled itinerary. So if I click here and I launch this trip, this will take me to that trip. As you can see, it is not the same trip, different things, different types of booking, because this was for that particular customer. So I hope this explains how the personalized URL works. So let me close this and go back to the dashboard. Now, also, as you can see, this search that was made by the customer is registered here. So not only are you able to track the confirmed or the canceled items, but also the searches that customers are making on the site. From an agent perspective, this will help you with the upsells because you can see, for example, this customer is engaged. She's searching for this, so you could reach out to her and say, look, why don't I help you here? Let me try to build a package, or you know what, I've also seen a great activity in this same location that would match perfectly with your trip. And then this really brings a lot of intelligence to the process that can help you with your sales. On this part right here, we have different filter options to locate a specific trip or a particular customer or booking. So you can filter by creation date. If you know the booking number, you can just go ahead and search it by booking number. You can also filter by confirmed, canceled, pending, or searched bookings. If you know the name of the customer, then you can also use that filter as well. And here on this part, you're going to be able to see all the opportunities that have been created on your site. So how many trips have been created, how many email invitations have been triggered for activities, and for sales, you're going to see how many transactions, what is the total sale amount, and therefore what is the average sale amount. Now you also have this tab right here, which is called reports. Once you click on it, again, you're going to have different filter options to help you specify your search. And this tab right here will allow you, if you scroll down, to see the detailed pricing information of every single booking. So right now I have this filter in place, which is booking dates. Now if I scroll down and go to my right, this is the booking that I've just made for Rias Pisani. It was made today, the date of travel, the status, and then the pricing description. So how much is the net, the markup, did I increase it or not, how much my commission will be, the booking currency that I'm using, my final commission, and the payment for. So this one, for example, has credit card to be advised later. I could use line of credit, cash, etc. Okay, so this would be how the dashboard works. Okay, now let me take you back. I'm just going to go ahead and close the dashboard here, and we're going to be back on the agent desktop. So I've received a request to go back and do again another air booking, but this time we're going to use a different fare. So I'm just going to type a destination. Hey, why do I always have London? Let's type something different.
JFK to London.
Oh, okay. From New York to London. Okay. Just gonna select the states. Again, I'm just gonna leave this by default. I'm gonna go ahead with the search. And While I'm having my results loading here, just before we close the B2C aspects that we've been going through, we've already seen how you can send a quote, how you can invite a customer to a trip, or how a customer can invite friends to the trip. Now, the third option would be, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, this tool right here, which would be send the B2C link to the customer. When you use this option, what's going to happen is that the customer will log into the site with a blank trip. So when you're inviting a customer to a particular trip, once a customer joins, he can see whatever activity has been made on that trip. So this customer that we were inviting was able to see the flight that I had booked and the flight that I had searched. But if I use this tool right here, the customer will be coming to a blank trip in order to start any searches from scratch on his own. Okay, so now let me go back to the exercise that I've been asked to do again. So here we are with the flights. Submit, which rate would you like me to select? Sorry.
Let's go with net private fare GDS. Yeah, this one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So I've got this one right here and proceed to book now. Okay. Would you like me to show this part right here? So for this particular fare that I've selected, again, I have the details of the flight on my left, and I can actually decide the markup that I will be applying to this flight. So I can see the flight total, the taxes, what it comes to, and I can mark up this flight using this tool right here.
So Brad, if you would like to explain this to everyone, this particular section,
I think the workflow is familiar to many of the team that it mimics the workflow that we have through eGlobal Flares by and large today. We'll have some further modification to it, but this is by and large what you hopefully have seen over the last couple of years with eGlobal Flares. And I did want to, since I have an opportunity, I did want to mention what is happening behind the scenes. Most fares, WorldSpan, Sabre, Amadeus, behind the scenes are sourced from eGlobal Flares. The additional piece that we have is NDC, and if some of you had a keen eye and saw it on the previous page, the very first result on that result when we first pulled up this particular search was a British Airways NDC booking. I don't think we're going to dig into that just here today, but that would mean that when we do fulfill an NDC booking, if it's new to you, the ticketing and everything is completed by the carrier. So in that instance, British Airways that we currently have loaded would ultimately do the fulfillment of the ticket. So there's no OES in the picture. It's all fulfilled by the carrier. But so we have those two primary fare sources today, EGF through the GDSs, as well as the NDC content, and we will begin adding more NDC content going forward. So right now you will only find British Airways marketed flights and a few interlines that they have available through NDC as well. Some of those include India. So in terms of this tool, again, you have some of the same options, similar workflow that you had before. You can hold it. You can do CC to be advised. You can choose a cash payment and hold it for later. And I will also mention in the near term, you will have access to these PNRs in this portal, as well as anything that's eGlobal Fares you will find in the wings you know and love today. Those bookings will flow through, and everything that's documented in those PNRs will look virtually identical to what you see today. So we're not upsetting that sort of workflow that you become accustomed to when you see online on bookings. To help with that sort of transition to a new interface.
Okay, so I believe we've covered the aspects of how to proceed with a booking for a flight, for a hotel. All the other search engines will work just the same. And we've covered also how the dashboard will work and how you can track or how you can go back to any particular trip We've also covered the agent desktop and the different tools that you're going to have available. So at this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or just use the chat on the GoToMeeting link, and I'll be more than glad to try and help you solve them all.